The line that was used, and I can't remember who to credit, is it's not the beginning of the end, it's the end of the beginning. 2023 has really been a transition year for us. It's been going from this, we understand this instrument, we know how to build it, to we're actually building this year. We've deployed a prototype system in Australia. We've got prototype systems in South Africa, and both of those have been yielding data that we're now taking and feeding back into the process. In South Africa, as the very first array assembly is right on the brink of that. That's a 2024 deliverable for us that has multiple dish structures deployed with the receiving systems, and the very first antenna is going to be deployed in February of 2024.
There's been considerable progress in terms of activities happening on the site in South Africa. We're very excited at the beginning of the new year. We're really going to ramp up in terms of the start of the construction of the infrastructure for the mid-radio telescope. And what that's going to entail is the construction of new roads, new fibre and electrical reticulation networks, and the antenna foundations to get ready for the installation of the dishes on site. So the communities surrounding the SKA-Mid site are really the heart of everything for us, and I think it's really important that we have what we call that social license to operate. We've got 76 local community members already appointed on the project, and we're really only going to be starting, the ramp up of construction early next year. One of our contractors, the dish structure contractor, is called SKA-54, based in China, and they're responsible for the manufacturing of the dish structures. And they had what we call the big lift event, where we put the dish structure on the pedestal. There was a number of factory acceptance tests which were successful, and this is a great testimony to both SKA-54 and as well as the observatory and SKA-Low. And the really big one right now is that the dish is on its way to South Africa. It's somewhere in the Indian Ocean. We're tracking it every day, and we're looking forward to having it in the Cape Town port in mid-January and on site as soon as possible after that. And I think we're really setting the scene now for things to ramp up, and there's going to be a lot of progress and activity next year.
2023 really marks the biggest transition for the SKA in Australia in many ways, in that we've finally started actual work on site. So we've deployed the first SKA-owned prototype antennas, AAVS3, done by Curtin University, CSIRO and the SKA staff down at the Curtin site.
We really needed to understand how to deploy them and the reliability and the robustness, both of the deployment and the operations of those. I've been surprised in a positive way. The innovation of the teams in coming up with ideas for how we can tackle these problems of deployment, the very intricate work that you need in terms of the assembly of the antennas, the mounting of the amplifiers on top of those, the cabling of those systems, and then the connection of the whole station as a unit and making sure that it actually performs.
And of course, the actual site infrastructure work has commenced in a major way. 240 kilometres of surveying work, laying down all the boundaries of work areas, putting in the bores, the water storage systems for the construction works, putting in the quarries, the borrow pits, completing heritage surveys. And we take very seriously this recognition that the Aboriginal peoples were here in Australia tens of thousands of years before us and do have native title rights over the land. A random example, out of a workforce on site of over 100 people, 31 of them were Wurundjeri people, which is a staggeringly high percentage. This year in particular, I'm most proud of the relationship with the contractors doing the work on site and the speed at which we've been able to then get work going, how quickly we have ramped up to a fully developed construction site now leading into SKA-Low in Australia.
They actually delivered that exactly on schedule. Amazing achievement of the team, and driven by individual heroism of the team, where they just put in whatever it took to make sure that that was realized on time. Seeing them on the ground in reality rather than in a drawing is really inspiring us as we move into the next year. I think we're where we need to be. The major manufacturer of the antennas in both countries. For SKA-Low, that's in Italy, and for the SKA-Mid, that's happening in China. Other aspects of Mid, there are other receiver bands for those, and so the Band 1 receiver is coming from Sweden, Band 2 is coming from South Africa, Band 5 is coming from the United Kingdom. And so it really begins to show some of the global nature of that. 2024 is my favorite year in the project because this is the year that our very first array assemblies are actually realized. We take measurements on the sky and we see what the SKA can really do. My feeling right now, incredible sense of awe and humility of being able to work on a project like this. There just isn't anything like it in the world, and it's a privilege, and you have to wake up in the morning recognizing that, having a mission whose goal is to transform our understanding of the universe, pretty good.